Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Spence.
Hello.
Good morning. And Nick is here.
Hello.
Hello. And Gal is here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix software, double, by dudein.it.com, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. Twice.
Twice?
Yeah. Well, what happened this week is Nick always wanted me to do the reruns through vMix, to use vMix. And we were using VLC, through vMix, but VLC to capture and all that. And I said, okay, here I don't have much to do. I'll do this. So Nick got with me and started doing it. And, oh, no, we can't do it because the version that I had did not have that feature. And by the way, there was no reason to get any other feature, any other addition, more expensive in the past for it because it didn't do much. And Nick got that, paid for that copy. So I tried and it didn't work. I called Tom Sinclair and I asked him, what options do I have? And because I really don't need something that costs a bunch of money. And he said, well, you need to find out if anybody wants to sell their copy. Either that or maybe you'll find somebody to sponsor. And he said it in a way. I said, okay, what do you mean? I said, do you want to sponsor? He said, yeah. So Tom Sinclair sent the next up copy, which wasn't the most expensive like the one that we're using here, but it was good enough. And that's how we are capturing. Well, I wouldn't call it capturing. That's how I do the reruns. It's a playlist, but it's not a playlist. They call it something else. But it's working great. So that's why I'm saying twice, because vMix has been sponsoring us now since we started using vMix to do the production, and now Tom Sinclair and vMix. Now it's Tom Sinclair, live streaming gear. So that's it. I'm going to put something. I'm waiting for him to see what I should do for his sponsorship. But that's why the double. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. So what's going on?
Nothing. Everything is great.
Talk?
What? Hello?
Oh, almost like I heard an echo. I saw there's a guy that always goes to Omar's garage who's working. He's kind of a higher up techie at AT&T. And we always talk, and I always tell him how I love AT&T and all that. That Friday, I went over to Omar's after about 3 weeks that I didn't go. And he was there. And remember I was telling you I was having a problem with the AT&T feed that every now and then it decides, I'm not going to work. And it's not like it's completely disconnecting. It is creating it's a weird situation. The stream will not go out, but I'm also using it on my big monitor on my desk to monitor all my servers with SSH sessions. That keeps on working. And when you look at the adapter, it says internet access. And sure enough, you can go and you can browse and everything, but it will not send out the stream, or it will send and stop. And at that moment, I can all I have to do is just switch it to Time Warner, and everything is working okay. So I told him, and he said, "That is strange." He gave me his card, and he said, "Look, when it happens, I want you to call me, so I can look at the line and see what's going on." But the first thing he said, "Why don't you get fiber?" I said, "It's not available yet. I know it's coming to the neighborhood because I'm sure you guys are bringing 100 megabits on fiber, but to the house, it's Cat 5. He says, "Well, let me look at it." So it's interesting. So I switched it back to AT&T last night. It's still working okay.
It could just be a routing issue in the network.
Well, whatever it is, I have no way of checking
whatever it is, yeah.
Because, like I said, when it happens, I use the software that Nick was telling me to use. That what is it, Nick?
Ping plotter.
Yeah, Ping plotter, and that shows everything fine. But it's
great piece
not
of software.
fine. Yeah, but it's not fine. There's something else, and it's not local because I can switch it to Time Warner and then 10 minutes later switch it back to AT&T, and it does the same thing. It streams for about 20, 30 seconds, and the light goes yellow instead of green, instead of red. So, go ahead.
Have you used testmy.net?
Yeah.
And that shows everything okay
everything,
as well?
I use different speed tests, and everything else is fine. This is what's strange. Everything is fine. It's not losing packets. I have no idea. So,
well, this is very similar to some of the issues that I had on AT&T.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately caused me to literally have to switch service providers.
Yeah. Now, I did not call them. I did not complain about
There's
it.
no point of calling them.
Yeah, no, because they will never look at it when it happens. Now that I have his card, and he said, "Call me when it happens," that's maybe something will come out of it. He said, "I want to see what happens right there." So we'll see.
Did I ever tell you the story about a former boss of mine who used to work for a very large international bank?
Yeah.
And he was in charge of telecom for their New York City office, big high-rise office in New York City. And they would have outages, sporadic outages. This is back in the days of banks of modems. So it was mainly IBM protocols running across these encrypted modems. And like, they get this weird, like suddenly the connection would go down to their European branch. It's like, what's going on? Lease lines, that kind of stuff. And they couldn't figure it out. They couldn't figure it out. What was going on? And finally, one day he's walking by one of the rooms where all the modems were, and there's a guy in there. One of the low-level technicians was in there, and he's pressing the reset button on the modems, and going "F you, F you, F you." And that was the outage. And they figured it out. It was the guy who would go in there when he had a break during the day. He just hated everybody, and went in and just was pressing the reset buttons on all the modems. So who knows? Maybe there's somebody out there that doesn't like something and just says,
Well,
remember ThickNet?
Yeah.
I remember working at a place back when I was an IBM technician working on the IBM side of the network, and they also, it was a university, so I had thicknet, Ethernet too. So we have these weird sporadic outages. You don't know what's going on. It'd be working for a while and suddenly it stops. Same thing. It was a technician, or it's not, I don't even know it was a technician, had a thicknet drop at his desk. And you have to leave a terminator on it for it to work. If you take the terminator out the network. So he would be sitting there doodling on the phone. He'd unscrew the terminator, take it out, he'd look at it, put it back in again. And he's just doodling. He had no idea what he was doing was taking the whole network down.
Well, for a while, I was thinking that maybe they are throttling, even though I was not reaching there's a limit, a cap of 1 terabyte. I thought, well, maybe they're somehow maybe they're throttling, but when you check the speed, it's perfect. It's a weird situation, but hopefully when the fiber is ready around here, everything will go back to normal. I mean, it may work for a whole week and everything is okay. And then suddenly it happens. I just wish that I had a way to monitor it and to alert me when it happens. The only way that I know that it's going bad is through email. Whenever you connect to YouTube, there's a message that says now live on your channel. So I see it like 3, 4, 5 times. I said, okay, yeah, AT&T is down or AT&T is screwing up. So I'll come in here and switch it and everything is fine. But I mean, you have to live with it until somebody does something about it. Like, again, Nick had that problem and nobody wanted to do anything. And he switched. He put his money where his mouth is. That's it. Hey, guys, look, I'm sorry. I love it, but there's a but.
Well, I mean, it was begrudgingly. But yeah, I'm glad I had a choice. A lot of people don't.
Yep, a lot of people don't.
For the first time, I will have a choice. The fiber's actually almost completed the fiber pull in my neighborhood. So they've been working. Yeah, it's actually done. The monument is in my lawn. The cable's there. They just have to light it up.
Yeah, they said that normally it takes about 6 months.
From the time it's installed?
From the time that they finish running the cable. And,
yeah.
Who knows? Hopefully the technology is progressed to the point that, hey, we can do it in 3 days.
Well,
I don't know.
Not in a big company like that, nothing happens that fast.
Yeah. So what else?
I was going to wait until it was installed to cut the cord, and now I decided I'm just going to go with Spectrum Internet because I just want the joy of taking that stuff into the Spectrum offices and putting it on the table and say, no more cable. Well, we're doing great. We're using the recast. It's working fine. The Philo TV has been great for the Discovery, home improvement channels, all that stuff has been great. And we basically have not used the cable box, the remaining one, for probably 2 to 3 weeks. So it's gone.
We had a weird situation with Plex and off-the-air TV. There's a guide that some people that use cable TV, you know what a guide is. You go in and it says, okay, from 7 till 8 on this channel you have this, and you just look to see. You know what day it was? I think it was Monday morning. When I get up, I like to go now on MeTV. There are cartoons. I love to watch the cartoons. And I'm looking at
which one?
all kind of cartoons. I mean, Bugs Bunny, Popeye. I mean, it's fun. It's light. You sit there and you drink your coffee and it's relaxing kind of.
It's actually the same as watching the news.
Yeah, well, almost. I mean, this is actually better.
A lot more soothing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm looking in the guide and it says, Mork and Mindy. I don't remember what it said. I said, no, it's cartoons. And sure enough, it was cartoons. So I said, oh, well, they didn't update. The next day, or no, that night, Kathy is looking to see what's coming up because she likes to watch Jeopardy and all that. And the whole page with the different, it showed the stations, but everything, it had no program name. It all had the station channel and name, all over. And you can go to tomorrow, it's the same thing. I said, okay, I have no idea. So I rebooted.
So Amnon.
Yeah.
That's because you were on the AT&T line.
No, it was not. So I tried and I started reading and people, I mean, nothing current said that this is happening. People say you need to reload the database and I don't know how to do any of that because Gal did everything. So I said, well, it's time to call Gal. So Gal looked at it and he reset the cache. I mean, followed what I was reading. And after, I think it was after he reset the cache, I was looking again on Plex online to see if it comes up. And suddenly there was a banner that came up that wasn't there before. And it said that this guide will not be updated after January 1st, 2021. You have to install the new one that we're going to use. I said, where was this all along? And I went looking, I couldn't. Gal used different search terms, and it did come up, but people were complaining that you have to do it again and all that. But once this was installed, everything was okay, except you had to reset all the recordings. So if I want to record Jeopardy, I have to go in and say, okay, record this show every day, and record this show every day, and record this show every day, which was, it wasn't a big deal because you can go to your recordings and see which programs you were recording on a regular basis. I was reading the next day the links that Gal sent me for about this problem. People are complaining like it's the end of the world. And I don't know, maybe some people have intricate recordings and, it's, I have no idea. To me, it wasn't a big deal. Yeah, go reset it. You know which programs you're recording and go on. And it's been working fine. There was no problem after that. So that's all it took is to, now, could I have installed the new guide myself? I don't think so. I mean, I'm being honest. I did not do anything on that server. Gal did the whole thing. So I don't know.
Did you try removing the DVR yourself and then adding it again?
No, because you see now
that would have done it.
Now you see the thing, the trick is, you see delete DVR, and well, should I?
Yeah, you don't know what that means.
Exactly.
I agree.
You see, that's the thing. Am I going to lose all the recordings with it? Because a DVR, you change DVR, now all the programs that were on it are gone. And you don't know.
Right.
So no, I said, no, I'm not going to do that. But nobody.
That's what we needed to do. So
nowhere,
basically, right? So,
nowhere did it say, and no email, no note. And the only note that came online on the application was after you took you cleared the cache. Why? Why can't it be there for the whole month of January or stay there? It's nobody's using that really. It's a maintenance application. Leave it there and say if your guide is not working, because all it said is your guide is empty. Make sure that you're connected to the internet or something. I don't remember. But and no explanation, nothing. And you go and you refresh the guide, and it just goes. If I didn't know that it takes forever to refresh the guide, I would have known that I wouldn't have known that there's another problem, because normally it takes forever. This was just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and finished, and it says no, it's empty. It was frustrating, but you learn something from that. And after that, everything was just fine. You were going to say that, yeah.
No.
So yeah, if and the weird thing is, now we're talking what? The 20th, the 19th, the 20th, whatever it was. Come on, guys. I mean, you say it's not going to work after the first. Why is it keeps on
But
working?
that actually makes sense if you think about it.
Yeah.
On the first, when your EPG or electronic programming guide got synced, it got synced to 2 to 3 weeks forward. And so when you reach the end, that's when things will get messed up.
Okay. Okay, I see. So it doesn't look at that every time you go. So are you saying that if, let's say that they changed something within those 2 weeks, would it appear?
Then you didn't get the change.
No, even though I didn't get the
change. It
change.
stopped getting changes on the first, right? And you're moving on time, but you will notice it when things are completely missing or when something is different.
And that's exactly what happened, is
Yeah.
that it was weird in the morning, and then in the evening it was completely broken. Well,
right.
Anyway, it's okay now. And it's something to learn, that if you're using Plex and you are off the air, you're receiving off the air through Plex, you need to play with it. And I was talking to Sarid, morning Sarid, and he was saying that he's not receiving off the air through Plex. He's receiving it through HD Home Run with their programming guide. And that's why maybe it did not affect him.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, he was telling me, and I told him what happened. He said, well, maybe if Gal is in the schwung, is into it, maybe he'll fix mine now. I guess he wants to go through Plex.
I didn't know there was an issue on his system.
There isn't.
But we're busy with different issues.
No, there was no problem.
There
was no problem on his side, because I the first one I called was, or texted, was Sarid, because he's using HD Home Run and he's using Plex. I said, do you have everything? He said, yeah, everything is fine. And then he said, we're not using it through Plex. We use their guide. So I figured, okay, so that's why it was okay on his side. So there are some things when you cut the cord and you're using these utilities, you could run into some problem that you're not aware of, that you don't know about, but they can always be fixed.
Yeah. So, I mean, the main thing is cutting the cord means you are no longer relying on the standard method of doing things, right?
Right.
So you need to roll your own on a lot of things. So yeah, it requires effort, but and change of behavior, but eventually you get control.
Yeah,
that's the whole idea, right?
Yeah, and it does work. And I see Alan is saying, how do you import over the air? What is OTT, over the?
Well, IPTV, there's no integration with IPTV and Plex at this point.
What is
there?
OTT?
There was, I'm guessing, over the air.
Alan, what is OTT? I don't know what OTT is, but the over the air.
Through some sort of
antenna.
What? Somebody said something?
No, it's over the air.
No, there's OTA and there's OTT.
Over OTT is over the top. streaming. That's like Roku is considered over the, like a Roku app is considered over the top.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I
Which-
mean, so if Alan, if you heard what I was saying, we are getting we have an HD home run, which is connected to the antenna, but it feeds into Plex and into the TV, into the Roku, but it goes into Plex. So we only use the Plex interface for everything, unless Kathy goes to Netflix or whatever, and she wants to use it externally. So anything that goes to Plex, you can bring it in and record it. The HD home run has Ethernet, and the Roku that we're using for the TV has Ethernet, and they talk to each other. So as a matter of fact, I wanted, I'm going to get Gal to do it one day before we changed TVs, and we had the Fire Stick. You could get over the air through the HD home run, either through the Fire Stick or independently as a different source. So you go to
I
another
think you can
source.
still do it. It's a UPnP.
Yeah, well, so right now, if Plex is messing up, we can get over the air TV. And that's what was nice before, when and Plex will mess up every now and then. I don't think it's Plex, it's the server, because it's an older server and who knows what else is going on there and all that. But the thing is, it's nice to receive it over the air. Now, if you receive it over the air, I mean, if you receive it over HD home run directly to the TV, then you cannot record unless you have the HD home run that has a DVR built in. We don't. But if you bring the HD home run through Plex into the TV, so to speak, then it's just like another channel that Plex can record, and there is a DVR. So in Plex, one of the items on the left menu is live TV and DVR. If you don't have the HD home run, it's not there. That's how you.
No, if you don't have, actually, that's not true. It is there.
It is?
If you don't have Plex, yeah. If you don't have Plex Premium, it's not there. It's actually not there at all. I have it on mine, but it doesn't do anything because I don't have anything in there.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
But
yeah, because you have to pay for the guide. Is that why? I wonder if
I don't know
that's
about
what
paying
makes
for the
it
guide,
Prime.
but it's a Plex Pass feature.
Yeah.
Okay. But back to what Alan was saying about, I don't understand why these companies won't accept IPTV. MB, which is an alternative to Plex, supports IPTV. So if IPTV is your breaking point, then look at running an MB server instead of a Plex server, which I ran for a little while to test.
There's MB and there's the completely open source alternative to MB. Yellow something.
I don't know if that supports IPTV. I know for a fact MB does, and it worked marginally well when I used it. So yeah, check out MB, or what was that one? Your
Jellyfin. Jellyfin is a fork of MB. MB at one point they become more close. Jellyfin is the completely open source.
Yeah, so check those two out if your use case is IPTV, which I understand. There's lots of IPTV providers.
So yeah, I mean it's nice, and that's the reason why we're bringing it through Plex, because we wanted to record some of those shows.
Now, for a completely different topic.
Yeah.
Amnon.
Yes.
Was your NOAA weather radio beeping yesterday?
No.
Really?
No, it was not.
Okay. Well, a lot of people's were, mine including. I'm surprised yours wasn't. You should probably check that.
I'll check the batteries.
Yeah, make sure it's still working. The National Weather Service did not send out their weekly test of the emergency alert system on Wednesday because they were afraid it would cause panic because they're a bunch of
jeez.
wimps. Why test our infrastructure? Because, then we can, nevertheless, just a bunch of political bullshit. But so the fallout of this, so to not freak people out on a Wednesday, the fallout after this is anybody that has a NOAA weather radio, their device would have been chirping like a fire alarm the past couple of weeks. Or excuse me, the past day, because the device hadn't received a weekly test. And when it doesn't receive a weekly test, it chirps. It gives you an indicator. It's like a 3 or 5 minute chirp. It gives you it gives you an alert that, hey, you haven't received your weekly test. So if that's the case, just flick your radio off and back on, and the chirping should stop. But I saw a lot of people freaking out on social media about that yesterday because their devices were chirping throughout the day.
Alan, I thought, no, that's whose chosen name? That's Arnie. Arnie, I thought they postponed it. The launch of their 143 satellites. It seems like I saw something last night. I didn't see to win. Anyway, so no, it wasn't chirping or anything. That's weird. But I mean, I know it's on, but I wonder if
it might not be receiving the station.
Yeah. All right. I'll check it. Yeah.
So.
Okay. Nick.
Amnon.
Talk to us. Mastodon.
No.
Mastodon. You want to talk about it?
No, I don't really.
Okay.
I talked to a friend this past week about it, and I'm more confused than I was before. Okay, I can talk about it for a minute.
Guile, do you know anything about Mastodon?
Just in general strokes, how it's constructed.
I mean, so you can talk. So the thing that I'm so the issue with the stuff that we talked about the past couple of weeks was social media censorship, and actually deleting the social media like Amazon did with Parler. It's an inherent issue with anything that's centralized, and the fact that the services thought that they could run a social network totally centralized on Amazon was foolish on their part. But obviously, you've probably heard about you maybe have heard about Mastodon over the past couple of months and years. There's certain communities that have flocked to it, and that is the true way of decentralized social media. An easy way to describe Mastodon, and I'll jump in whenever I'm incorrect on something. It's kind of like email in the way that no matter where you are across the world, no matter who your email server provider is, you can email anybody. If I know Gal's email, doesn't matter where his email is, doesn't matter what country he's in or who his provider is. If I open up my email client and type Gal at gal.com, I can send him an email. That's very similar to the way that Mastodon works, where any instance of Mastodon, which is essentially like a Twitter alternative, can reach anybody else on any other Mastodon instance all across the world. Now, there are some stipulations to that. You can control, as the server moderator or owner, you can control who you federate with. That's the term, federation. So you can control what servers you talk to. But for the most part, it is a totally open social network. So you, instead of all of the data being stored with your provider, you can access data from other sources. And I know the explanation isn't great. It's incredibly hard to try to articulate.
I can try and maybe explain it. So there are nodes and there are clients, and each client belongs to a node. we here, for example, right? Theoretically, we're part of a Nissan communication node. We're hooking up to the Nissan communication node, and all nodes, they can choose with which other nodes to participate. So they can create their own network, or they can participate in the global network.
To peer.
Yeah.
Because,
And so let's assume everybody is participating in the same global network, like the internet, right? I mean, the internet works in a very similar way, right? When you think about all of the routers interconnecting all of the local area networks into a world network, right? Into a wide area network. So the same idea works over IP with Mastodon. You have nodes, they communicate between themselves, and they create a network. And when a node is connected directly to more than two nodes, then it is starting to be fail resilient a lot better than if you would be just connected to a single point. So Nick and me and Amnon will be and Spence will be part of the Nissan communication network, while somebody else will be either on a self-hosted one or on another community's server, right? And even though we're on different servers, we can still communicate. We can anything I put in my feed, if I allowed you to follow me with the servers themselves, they take care of all of the privacy controls, right? But you still get this social media experience of a wall, a stream of a feed that comes in with messages from you can publicly post to, and you can also post directly one-on-one. So think about your interaction with Twitter or Facebook or anything like that. But instead of everybody going to facebook.com to do that, right? Each one is connecting to a local node. And those nodes have the resiliency of being connected, even if one of them falls off the grid. That's the theory. It's a lot more complex when it comes to implementing, because the endpoint, the clients, they're still connected to these single point servers. So one thing, Nick, you said, instead of everything being stored on by a single entity, so my data will be stored on the node I'm connecting to, either a self-hosted one or a community one, but it will still be a self-hosted, hosted at a single location. And so intercommunication between them is resilient, but it doesn't mean you will always be able to reach my data. Does that help?
I mean, I'm not sure it helps the audience because it's just so incredibly complex.
Distributed systems are
Well,
always complex, right?
So yes, and the one thing to note is it's not like Twitter with multiple servers. Each instance is totally independent. It runs completely by itself. The data is stored there by itself. It is not reliant on any other server. Your data is not on any other server. It is explicitly on the server that you are choosing to be your main server. And I was talking to a friend this week, and I got even more confused. I asked him, I said, hey, should I be creating Mastodon accounts on all of these instances, or just use one master account and then follow people on the other federations that I want to see? And it just ended up me being more confused about how I needed to use Mastodon.
Well, it really depends, right? It really, really depends. It depends on so many things.
Yeah.
But bottom line is these are small pools of communities, right? That inside the community, you'll have the most effective communication, the most direct and responsive communication. And when you start to extend to other pools, while theoretically and practically, right, the protocol allows it, it'll be less efficient. The communication between the two endpoints will be a lot less efficient. It's a bit like different cell companies sending MMS from one provider to another back in the early 2000s, right? It's like it doesn't really work. It works sometimes, right? It's something like that. So if you were a Verizon, if you had a Verizon cell phone and a AT&T cell phone, I'm guessing communicating SMS text will probably always work, but when you started to try some more complex communication, it will fail. So I think that would be the most prevalent concept around it.
I have a question. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Just real quick, if you're looking to try this out, I have a friend that runs a small server at freewheel.social. So if you want to give it a shot and just sign up for it, I mean, it's free. He runs an instance over there. It's a small instance. There's only a couple of users on it. And that's what he does. So it's I mean, it's cool. The concept of Mastodon is really cool. The signal to noise ratio is very low because they are siloed communities. So that is very good. That it's not like Twitter or Facebook where, you know, there's a billion people logged in. On some of these communities, there might only be 600 or 700 people, and you think, oh wow, that's a lot. That's not really. When you look at the interaction that you can get with a tweet or something like that, you know, that's a relatively small group of people, which is good, right? I mean, you want meaningful and useful discourse and conversation, and the signal to noise seems to be very good on a couple of the main Mastodon instance that I use is No Agenda Social. That's the main Mastodon instance that I'm on, and the noise ratio there is very good. So,
all right. So let me ask this. I thought that it works in a different way. If I run an instance,
yeah,
and I post three messages, those are going to go where?
They will stay on your server
on
the
server.
hard drive
Good.
that is hosted on your
right. Now, how do all the people around the world, let's say that Mastodon is working, how do they read those? They have to come to me?
So Nick is running on No Agenda Social, right?
Yes.
And you're running on Nissan Communication.
Right.
You post 3 posts.
Right.
Nick has already marked you as a friend he follows.
Right.
Okay. So the network will propagate a notification to Nick's server.
Yeah.
For the next time he logs in or asks for, do I have anything new? Telling him there are posts waiting for you from Nissan Communication.
Post waiting.
And then Nick's connects to No Agenda, right? And says, hey, give me everything I got back. And No Agenda's servers starts talking with Nissan Communication servers and passes the information to Nick.
That's what I missed.
Okay, now it does it through a network of nodes. They don't necessarily communicate directly.
Right.
That's where the
resiliency is.
But that's where the comparison to email, for example, is exactly that, right? SMTP servers, they don't necessarily talk directly with the SMTP on the end.
Right.
There's a network of SMTP servers that this goes through in order to effectively be transmitted. So
but they always know.
The idea.
It always know. SMTP will always find the mail server on the other end, one way or the other. And most of the time, outside of a few cases, because you can block instances, that's how Mastodon and as it's called, the Fediverse works. It will always find you on the other end.
Right.
So the concept is really cool. It's not the most user friendly thing in the world because it's confusing. It's confusing as hell.
Well, right now it is.
Well, it will always be because the goal is the goal. Well, I shouldn't say it will always be. The reason that Twitter and Facebook are so simple is because they're centralized. That's also their biggest flaw.
Mhm.
The reason that this service is I'm not sure if necessarily call it the future, but yeah, I mean, I've seen some people explain it to be the early days of the internet, which I was not a part of.
I was just going to
Um,
explain it like that.
Yeah, well, go ahead then, because that's how I've heard people explain
because
it.
we had that back in the day, like in the late 80s, whatever. We called it Echo Mail. Echo
Yeah,
Mail.
in Europe, it was FidoNet.
Yeah, well, it is FidoNet. It's part of
Yeah.
FidoNet, but that was Echo Mail was the mechanism. And what happens is FidoNet was a network of BBSs. Each one is being run by somebody on their own computer with their own hard drive, but they were connected to the telephone system with modems.
Yeah, 10 megabyte hard drive.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. That was, you were doing good. Now, what happens is with Echo Mail, the way that it worked is you're a user and you are getting on my node and you're sending a message. That message, either right away, like it happened later on, or in the beginning, it was waiting until a certain time of day to connect to the next hop, let's call it, which was a far away, to send it there. But during the day, it was communicating with the other nodes, local nodes, and sending it to them also. So by the end of the day, that message was in a bunch of places. That node that you sent it to, which was a central one, will then propagate it to a bigger group that will send it to a bigger group. And before you know it, the next day or whatever, it will be all over the world. So what happens is, if you were subscribed to a group one, and let's say that my node went down and it stayed down for 3-4 days, the messages, all the messages that I was able to send out will be available on all the other nodes that users connected to. They didn't know. They just know, yeah, it's on that group. Number one, I connect to node 151.2 and I connect to 151.3 and I connect, and it will be there. So there's no way to there's absolutely no way in hell to take that message and delete it from the internet. There is no freaking way.
Well, in this way, so then that is not the same as this at all.
No, it's not. I understand.
Yeah. So this is different in that regard, because the data sits exclusively on your instance.
Yeah, it should be propagated. But wait a second.
But no, because that's not the goal. Because if it was propagated, the problem you would have is that everybody has so much data, it's impossible to run these nodes. There are millions of users that are using.
How does blockchain do it?
No, blockchain works completely different. Blockchains, everybody has a copy of the complete ledger.
Yeah. So
that's
isn't that
what
a lot of data?
Yeah.
Well, but it is data, but it's text
like
data.
a spreadsheet. It's not the full thing.
It's the metadata of the transactions that are going through. But
Okay.
In the case of this would be, I mean, if you post a picture, for example, if I upload a picture that's a megabyte to No Agenda Social, and then every single federated server across the world archive that post, you'd be everybody be out of space instantly. Not a traffic. No space. The system doesn't work.
But now let me ask you.
Store that would be like if every single email you sent went and was stored at every single email provider. It wouldn't make any sense.
Okay, so let me ask you this. You got on Amnon's node and you posted the picture. The picture stays here until somebody asks for it.
No, it stays there permanently.
So
It's always there. Even if I'm looking at it, it's still going through your server to view it.
So if you posted it and 10 minutes later my server went down, then
The data is
nobody
gone.
is going to see it
Correct.
until it comes back up. Then it's
Correct.
available.
Correct. The data is stored on your instance.
Okay.
That is the benefit of it.
I don't see that as a benefit.
It absolutely is the benefit.
It's a benefit for privacy. It's not a benefit for efficiency. Amnon is right. Because that means anyone who wants to see the video you posted must come to your server to see that video.
Exactly.
Right?
Nick, if you want to post an important message, and you want it to get to everybody, like Twitter. Well,
no, okay, but I mean that's not what this is. This is not Twitter.
I thought it was
but
a
that's what
replacement.
social media
It's not.
is, and that's what. No, that's look. This is a very important point, right? When you're talking about that, this is why Mastodon right now is still in the realm of ham radio instead of in the realm of Facebook and Twitter, right? It's tough to set up, and there are downsides. It does not amplify your voice, and social media, that's exactly what it does. It amplifies your voice, right? Now, you want full control about how your voice is amplified. That's where it starts to be complex, right? Because you're talking about bandwidth, you need to solve these issues. And I'm not sure Mastodon has an answer for that.
I just switched over to
what's that?
I was just saying, I just switched over to a Mastodon-based forum.
Yeah.
That people are struggling because they left Twitter to come here.
Yeah.
And they're expecting it to be Twitter.
Yeah. So
I want give me as many likes as possible. I said, well, that's not the point of why you're here. Right? This is you can have your local timeline, and you can see everything that comes. You can see the federated timeline and see every Mastodon thing that comes along. But you stick with the local timeline, the group that you're in, and you can look at the chat. There's no point in getting likes, right? I'm not here to get liked.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to see information. People share stuff, and that's what it's about. So people are really struggling with it. A lot of people go, I thought this was going to be Twitter, and they left. They didn't like it. And I actually think that it's easier, it's simpler, and I like it better than Twitter.
Because there's better signal to noise. The people that you want to see are there, and and the other bullshit is gone. Now, if you want to see the other bullshit, you can. As you said, I'm on my social instance right now. You can click on Federation Timeline, and it is every single post that is being made on any federated Mastodon. It scrolls by like a freaking stock ticker.
But
there's millions of posts.
Wait, but stop there a second. You're not guaranteed that if you click on one of the posts that you're going to get it.
Because, yes, I am. Why would I not get it?
Hold it. Okay, so maybe this is where I'm mistaken. But what happened if when you clicked on it, that server that had that post is down right now? What are you going to get?
If it's down, then the post wouldn't have been made. I mean,
the post is there. It's limited in how many characters the post can be. So you're seeing the whole thing. You don't have to click on it to view the whole post.
We're going away from it. So are you saying that when you look at that list, Nick, you see a live list of all these?
It's constantly updating because there's constantly new posts.
Okay, I thought that I guess from what you said and what Gal was explaining, that you post it, and then when you go to your node to get it, then your node communicates with me and says, hey, give me that post because there's somebody who wants to see it. It's already there.
That's how it can work like that as well. If you know who you want to see and you know what you want to look for.
But if it's down, you can see it. It's not like it.
I don't know why you're fixated on it being down. I don't know why you're fixated on that.
The reason why I'm fixated on it is because it's just like a fiber circle that if you cut it somewhere, it goes another way. The reason why Gab wanted to go to it in the early days was because people were cutting him off, so to speak. They were deplatforming him. They wanted
So, I mean,
to stay there no matter
Here's
what.
the federated timeline. This is
Yes.
live up. This is any, and by the way, I don't know what's going to come up here. So just be aware.
Yeah.
Yes,
this
it's pretty
is-
weird.
I mean, these are posts from all across the federated thing. For example, this guy's posting at chaos.social. There's the Michael Malice. These guys are all over the place.
All over the world.
Yeah. So, it just, there is no, there's no, that's it. That's the system.
But if there is an entity, if somebody complains about that node, somebody
Yeah,
can take their access away, and now they don't appear in that list. Their post is not there anymore.
The person that moderates my server could, correct.
Okay.
So
Okay.
the server operator, the server owner, and most of the people that are operating these instances are not.
Technically,
Yes,
it's
technically you
possible.
can block
Yeah.
yourself from
Okay.
any
Okay.
federation if you'd like to.
No,
and
no,
that-
but somebody else can block you from, because
No.
say, hey, what
People
you did
are-
is wrong.
No,
Well, yes and no. So
they can block you from
different
their
community
instance
can
only.
block a specific user from a different. You can create blacklists of everything on the server side, on the community level, right, or on the personal side, exactly like social media.
Okay.
The difference is that the server side is control a lot closer to home. Okay. So if usually the problem is not with another server blocking access to Nick's posts, but Nick's server blocking Nick from accessing his content,
Okay.
from posting his content, right? And so you choose it by that community. By the way, when Gab started using Mastodon, and I think that's what they're using right now, on most, a lot of other Mastodon servers announced they don't want to do anything with Gab, so they're going to block the Gab Federation.
Yes.
Right. So communicating between Gab and other Mastodon, even though they're using the same protocol, right? That's usually not possible.
Right.
So, and I think Gab chose at the end to just leave everything at Gab. Like everything is
they're not
just
federated.
theirs.
Yeah.
They're not federated. So it's, you can use that platform to create your own Facebook, right? Or you can choose that your own little Facebook is connected to other small Facebooks, right? That's probably the analogy here. But you're hooked up to a local one, a small local social network, and the owner of the server can decide, yeah, I'm actually taking part in the global conversation, and I'm hooking up to all of these other distributed networks. And not only that, I can choose which ones, right? Let's say I only want those who talk about ham radio, right? So we're going to focus only with these. There's a whitelist of which communities we're talking with, or there's a blacklist we don't want to talk with, so etc.
So it's not centrally moderated; it's locally moderated.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's a plus. That's a plus.
I'm looking for a good app for the iPhone, because currently on iPhone I'm just using a browser.
I've got one.
So
No,
I
there's a
tried
few.
Tootle. I tried
That's
Tootle.
what I use. Yeah.
You use Tootle? I could
Yeah.
not get, for some reason, the server that I'm sitting on would not allow me to add an instance.
Then Tootle may have blocked that instance. You might have to find a different app.
It could be.
Yeah, because
Or
they
find a
blocked Gab
different,
early
or
on.
find a different server.
Or I found
You don't want to be a different server.
I found some people were able to do it. It's a setup issue, I think, for me. But I have to somehow it's the local server for some reason won't allow me to add another instance.
Yeah,
So
Tootle's pretty
I'm not
good.
sure. I haven't researched it yet. But I'm still able to use it on the, to use the browser. Excuse me. To look at it. So
All right.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, this if you want to talk about the future of social media, this will be it.
Mhm.
The decentralized, non, I don't know what word you'd use. The non, I don't know. Non-reliance
Non-antagonistic.
is the word.
They-
No, the non-reliance on a centralized server to do your things is
But
is
the
big one.
Yes.
non-reliance is not because you don't want to rely on it. It's because you don't want to be in a situation where they can control you.
I mean,
It's
at the
not
end
the
of the day,
reliance.
Twitter and Facebook have become they are advertising marketplaces. That's what Twitter and Facebook have become. It's
and
become
sellers of data.
yes. So at the end of the day, you are being marketed, and it's a free service, and that's part of the shtick. I mean, there's no such thing as a free lunch. That's what Twitter and Facebook have become. You as an end user are an ad, or excuse me, a potential viewer of an ad, which is fine. That's how they make their money. That's what they do. It's more power to them. It's really gotten away from the whole element of being a social network, and that Mastodon, because it is. Now, obviously, you could have a server owner that goes off the rails, and then you're SOL. So that's part of picking your instance smartly and knowing what you're getting into. In the worst case scenario, you just leave and go somewhere else. Again, the goal is not, as you said, Spence. The goal is not for a bunch of boomers to get in there and get retweets on their stupid posts, which is what they think the use of social media is. For me, the use is to get useful information.
Right.
I frankly
And
don't
to
give a shit
send,
about that stuff.
and to provide useful information.
Well, if I have useful information to provide,
Yeah.
sure, but not to just post.
Right.
Oh, here's my coffee cup this morning. Nobody gives.
And
Nobody,
people
nobody
say,
cares.
I've seen people on it say, sitting down for breakfast now, be back soon.
Yeah, who can?
But
Nobody gives a
no.
shit.
But that's social media. That's how
Yes.
social media started, right? Let's not
yeah.
forget where the root started, right? Before advertising, before everything, it was just people
saying what they're doing.
shouting
Yeah.
to the world, right, about their experience, which usually was tuned to the
Going
better
to the
part of their
bathroom.
day. yeah, just
It
having
still
fun
happens.
with
Yeah.
it, right? And I think that's where social media should stay. But it has become this tool for discourse and unrestrained discourse, right? Flat out hate at one another. And that's
Well.
the problem, right?
Well, I
because if
wouldn't
you were in person speaking with another person, you wouldn't throw that hate at him. And I think that's it's an important point, right?
It is an important point.
It's like road rage, because you're in your car and you're isolated. You can get crazy with that other person who you don't know.
Yeah, and
like
you
you
don't
said,
know.
if you were
You don't
standing
know
on
how
the
he
same
got there,
line,
right? So
yeah.
All right. Spence, you ready for specials?
Oh, I did it already. Where were you? It's already done. It's too late. Sorry, we're past the deadline.
Ta-da!
No, we can go. But yeah. So specials, just another day, right?
Yep.
How many of you have just seen the? If there's one thing that happened that was sort of weirdly unifying, is that everybody got on board with the Bernie mittens meme.
Yeah, weird meme
on both sides, and everybody was posting it, but it was just being funny. And then, but the tragic story about it is the lady that actually made the mittens. People were trying to find her because they wanted to buy mittens from her. And she said, "I'm sorry, I'm out of business. My small business was regulated to death. I have to shut it down." It was pretty funny. I just couldn't afford to make them anymore. Oh, well.
Yep.
Okay, so today I just went to, instead of the typical retailers, I went to the non-typical retailers that we check. And starting with, and I just look for just interesting stuff, right? Not looking necessarily to have a laptop, a desktop, a network device, and so on. Newegg. Amnon, remember Egghead?
Yeah.
The store. Wasn't that a great store for a while?
Mm-hmm.
It was just better than Tiger Direct for a while, because they were like, instead of Tiger Direct was good, but just kind of flaky. But oh well, Newegg, they survived in one form, although I would still be skeptical about some of their stuff. They've got a 850 watt modular gaming power supply for $124, which is $15 off. Got a really nice computer case. This is a gamer's case, multiple LED features and all that, multiple fans, nice form factor. I think it's got a clear side cover. $34, and that's 15 off. Seagate, this is the biggest one I've seen so far. USB 3.0 expansion desktop drive, 12 terabytes.
Wow.
12 terabytes for $189, normally $254. They've got a Western Digital 2 terabyte PCI Express solid state drive. Now, this is expensive. And I don't know if this is a comparable price. I would think, as exponentially as you go up in size with SSDs, the prices go insane. But $309 for this Western Digital Black, high end.
Yeah, I think a 1 terabyte is around 150. So this is not a bad price.
It's probably in line. Yeah, it's probably in line. Yeah, that's what I figured. I just didn't.
Not a steep hike. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely a good form factor. Got a 27-inch LCD screen for $124.
No,
I'm sorry, that's not right. I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong place. $109, which is $20 off the regular price, $30 off the regular price. This is something I ran into this past week on a job that I did, not this week ago. I was doing a memory upgrade, and I dug out from my toolkit my anti-static strap because I just was thinking, I've gotten so cavalier with this. And in this case, it wasn't easy for me to keep my finger on the chassis of what I was working on to prepare memory to go in there. So I actually brought my anti-static wrist strap with me, ESD strap. You should have this in your kit. This one's just $6.99. I'm sure there's lots of places you can get it. But good to have.
I'm gonna post a link in chat of a channel I follow. They do testing of what electric discharge could do by electrocuting themselves through touching the board. So it's gonna be educational and hilarious at the same time.
Okay, good. I've actually worked on equipment in the past where I walked up to it, touched it, and then this is not typical computer. This is like mainframe stuff. Touched it, and you hear it go, just spin down. The ESD was so bad that it just took out the system. Yeah, I remember that. Okay, 16 gig DDR4 SD RAM for $61, normally $66, which is having just shopped for 16 gig and two DIMMs recently. This is a pretty good price for a single 16 gig.
Yeah, but don't jump on it because you want to make sure that your motherboard supports.
Yes, this is crucial, which is better than most.
It's not a matter of crucial. It's a matter of 16 gig one.
Oh no, of course, yeah. Single. And I just did an upgrade on one of those mini Lenovo, micro PCs, and it did actually support 16 with 2/8.
Nice.
And I was very happy. Yep. That really made that machine scream. It was an i3, but it only had 4 gig in it. And I brought it up to 16, and boy, what a difference. That and an SSD. Okay, here's another 1 terabyte PCIe solid state drive for $94, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
But I can't vouch for the name. And there's something else that you don't see much. They're out there. I actually have an older Bluetooth USB adapter that I used on one of my old desktops to connect speakers to it. But this is a USB 4 adapter for $11.99. This is a special. I think it ends tomorrow. But I don't know what the regular price is. It didn't say. And finally, a 512 micro SD card for $53, 512 gig.
Five.
That's a new egg. All right, going to Fry's now. They have a whole line of Avatar smart devices and lighting. Got an Avatar mini plug for $749. It works with Alexa, works with Google. They've got the triangle smart power strip. I saw another version of this, and it's intriguing because it has 3 plugs, 3 AC plugs, and all 3 are separately controllable, as well as 3 charging ports. That's why it's $25.99 compared to most extension cord chargers. So it does give you independent control of those 3 ports, which can be handy. Amnon, I wish you had this stuff when you were setting up your data center stuff. Remember your smart plugs?
Yeah.
Your smart strip, the IP-based stuff?
Yep.
This would have
I
been
don't
nice.
remember how much we paid for that one unit to control that
it was
outlet.
really expensive.
Yep.
And this thing actually says it works over, it's you can access it from anywhere using a smartphone.
Mm-hmm.
So also have 7-watt smart bulbs for $9.99 each. I had this year for holiday lighting, I replaced the 2 bulbs in my 2 lanterns on the side of my porch, so that when my Christmas lights came on in the evening, I had them come on red, and then later on I had them come on green, and then when the lights went off later in the evening, I had them go white, and they stayed white overnight. So it was kind of cool to do that. A little programming, but not bad. This is something that people who are consolidating, if you're not going to use like the Logitech, what is that called again? Smart what?
Harmony?
Hub?
Harmony.
Oh.
Yeah, this is an IR hub that lets you concentrate. It's got a list of thousands of different IR devices that you can control, and it gives you Alexa control, and it sends out the correct IR. So this is, I guess, a poor man's Harmony without the screen. So you can use voice commands to turn devices on and off that are IR controlled.
So if the television says 15, it goes to volume 15?
I hope. I don't know. Be interesting to see. I mean, for this price, play around with it. It might work. Might work better with older devices. I don't know. But it depends on the library. I think if you can go to their website and look and see what the library is.
Well, if it is integrated with Alexa, that means it phones home to a server. It might have an updated
That would be nice.
library.
Yeah. But for the price, who knows? So, and finally, they've got, and there were other devices there. They did have some higher wattage bulbs, but the smart switches for $13.99, which is a really good price with remote. It's got a little remote, not just controllable through Wi-Fi. I thought that was pretty cool. $13.99. All right, we got some a 3-in-1 HDMI switch with remote for $29.99. It's 10 off instant savings. You get a little more off if you use this. Some smart codes. Got a 1x2 compact VGA splitter for 2 ports. Kind of a very specialized device, but for $29. If you need it, you need it. Right, take a single VGA and turn it into 2. Component to HDMI converter. So good if you've got an old DVD player and you want to convert it to use it for an HDMI TV, and you don't have a component in, or that you've already used it for something else. $49. It's 30 off the regular price.
The classic Wii game station used the component output for its high definition. So
yes. Yeah. I didn't have that Wii. I had the one that only had a composite out, the original one. So, but SIG is a brand you see around. I don't think I've ever had one of the devices, but I know they've been around for a while. And finally not finally, we still have a few more things to go here. USB 3 flash drives. And this next one is a 32 gig USB 3.2 flash drive. 2 different brands for $5.99 each after savings. A 64 gig USB 3 for $7.99, and a 128 gig USB 3 drive couple of choices of brands for $14.99. Prices, look at just the regular list prices are low. So I'm really liking having these in my kit just to do, instead, I used to copy over all the customers' data to a portable hard drive to move files and so on, PST files, whatever, over. I'm just using flash drives now. I don't even have to bring the big portable drive with me. And if you're looking for a deal, and this is not the latest generation Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi 6, this is Wi-Fi 5. If you're looking for a good deal on a AC 1900 MIMO router, TP-Link, $79. This is the, which one was it now? Is it the, what the other brand name is? There's usually another name. But the point is, it's got the MIMO support. It's got the high-end AC features that will probably solve some problems in your home if you've got a congested network. $79, which is 20 off. And just a great little device to have. A 5-port gigabit desktop switch with 4 ports of PoE. So if you've got if you're playing around with PoE devices, if you want to power, say, PoE access points and so on in a network in your home, and you don't want to spend a lot of money on the PoE switch, I would look at, though, the total available wattage. Now, that says it's 4 ports, so it should support 4 full power ports, meaning I think the original standard was, 15 watts. The newer standards have more. So I would look carefully at what the power rating is for this. Just like a USB charger might say, oh, it's 2 amps, but that's spread out across 4 ports. So you may not be available at every port. So look at that before you choose. And finally, at Amazon, I said, let's see new interesting stuff, new postings. So we've got a Bluetooth 5.0 transmitter receiver. Now, this Bluetooth 5, and that's why it's $29. It is 41% off, normally $49. But this will give you the ability to use the very latest features of Bluetooth 5. And it's a transmitter and receiver. I don't know if it's concurrent, if it works both as a transmitter and receiver at the same time. But the transmitters that I have, the little pucks that I use to transmit to headsets off of the TV, they are one or the other, and they're very inexpensive because they're not Bluetooth 5.
And I'm assuming all these are backward compatible.
Backward, yes. In fact, I looked at that. I looked at this to say that it's fully backward compatible with all the versions of Bluetooth. Here's another. Now, this says it's a Doggy Cam. Now, there's nothing unique about this for dogs. It does have 2-way audio, but it's a good price for a tilt and pan Wi-Fi cam for $29. So the difference between the prices says $29.51 and $29.74 is the difference between buying the black one or the white one. That's the only difference. Why one costs a few cents more? I don't know. Okay, if you could use a green screen, whether it's for a studio production of video or just maybe you're taking pictures of product that you're going to place into another background in an ad. I had a holiday party, a New Year's Eve party one time in the neighborhood where the theme was cruising, and I set up a blue screen and I took pictures with my digital SLR, and then I edited them. And I said, people, you can pick from these 6 different backgrounds for your picture. And I actually printed them out for them right there at the party. It was kind of fun. And I made my own background. I brought a wooden frame that I set up. But this is a cool way to get your
this is temporary.
Your green screen.
This is a portable temporary.
Portable, yeah, but it's 8 feet by 10 feet.
Yeah.
So it's pretty big. But it's got you can see how you can make it be used for a product that would sit on put it on a stand or something. Only reason I mentioned this next thing, the binoculars, is because the power of these 20 by 50 waterproof. That's pretty aggressive as far as distance goes. I don't know what the comparable size is. I would guess this is pretty big to get the focal length on the lenses. But it's $43.99, which is what's like $17 off, something like that, $16. Then we've got a couple of useful devices here. We've got a USB-C to USB adapter. This is handy if you need to connect it with, if you don't have a cable, USB-C cable, but you want to use your older cables or whatever. So it goes from regular USB type A to USB-C. I actually needed something like this the other day, and I do have a cable now that's an adapter. I found it, I was at Lowe's of all places, and it was a USB-A to C cable, charging cable, and they were put out as a holiday kiosk, and there was still some left. And it said normally $9.99, now on sale for $5.99. So I'll buy one. I could use one for charging my earbuds. And I got to the register, and they were rung down to 60 cents each.
Mhm.
So I bought 3. Just put them in, put one in the car, one in my drawer next to my bed, and one in my, just to put into my travel stuff. All right, this next one is a good deal on a USB-C docking station. It's got a VGA, it's got 2 HDMI, so you can get 3 monitors off of this docking station. And it does support pass-through charging. So if you will plug your device's power supply into this, and in turn plug that into the device, and it gives you USB ports, it gives you HDMI ports, it gives you card reader ports, Ethernet, and an Ethernet port. So I thought this was a good deal for $40, normally $77.
Very good deal.
Yes, I can't vouch for the brand name.
Yeah,
But,
no, I mean, I bought some also, non-known brand a while back
They
in
work.
March when we started Shelter at Home, and mine was $100 something, not 40. So I did that. That wasn't an option, and I needed 2 HDMI at that time.
yes,
So,
yeah.
Very,
Yeah, I mean,
very
and
impressive
I
price
assume
point.
with USB-C, at least you can support all the bandwidth needed to do all this. So
Yes.
I'm not sure about concurrent 4K out the 2 HDMIs or not, but it would be for
I
most
don't think
general
I need
use, I think you'd be fine. All right, the next one is I came across a device like this for the first time a couple years ago, of all places, shopping in the Walmart in Fairbanks, Alaska. I needed a charger. I left my charger. I traveled a lot with my job. I stay in different lodges, and I left my charger there. And I had a charger that was a through plug for AC and 2 USBs. And I came across this. It's an extension cord for AC plus USB charging. And I have several of these around the house now. And I have one in my travel kit, but these are really handy. And for this price, it's $19.54 for the 2-pack. Is pretty good. They're very, very handy. Put it in your travel stuff, because if you go to a hotel where the closest available outlet is behind the bed or behind the desk or something like that, you can put this out on the table and have your power and your USB charging in a much easier location. And we've got a TP-Link USB-C to Ethernet adapter. Very handy, because most USB-C devices are going to be thin book devices, for example, and don't have a wired Ethernet connection. I've bought several micro USB Ethernet adapters for my Amazon Fire Sticks, which are very handy. But this is the first one I've seen that's USB-C to Ethernet. So $14.99, which is $5 off. And finally, I was intrigued by this next kit because of the price. I can't say that these are superior tools. I looked really closely at the pictures of it, and they look to be fairly good. I mean, if you're going to buy really professional electrical tools, you want to buy something good. You don't want to buy the cheapest. But this has everything you would need to do cabling installations. It's got the tone and test, the signal generator and receiver. It's got the crimping tool for RJ11 and 45. It's got the punch down tool for patch panels. It's got different types of cable and wire strippers here. Very handy little kit for $72. It's $12 off. Not saying that, like I said, I'm not saying it's a fabulous quality, but if you do it occasionally,
Right.
yeah. I mean, I've done occasional installations where I've built out wiring in a building and put it all back to a patch panel. I have all these tools. I bought them all separately. But
yeah, if you do this as a professional and you use it all day long, no.
This is probably not the one you want.
No.
But if you need to have it with you in case, this looked pretty good. I mean, I looked real close at the stripper, the wire stripper, and I looked very closely.
You looked close at the stripper. You didn't touch the strip. You didn't touch the stripper.
You got to
right?
look close.
Yeah, but you didn't.
What good is it? What good is it being far away?
Nick.
You got to be careful. You get
That's
thrown
it.
out with that.
I noticed I said the stripper, not a stripper. So
Semantics,
then
my friend.
the crimping tool too. Also, the die that they use. I've had some cheap ones that were not really usable. Some of the molded plugs that you buy didn't fit. They didn't fit right. The die didn't work right. So that's also a question. It's always good to buy good modular plugs. Don't buy the cheapest ones. You get a bag of 100 and you find out that they just don't work right. So I don't think a lot of us do a lot of cable termination anymore. Most of us buy pre-made cables,
Right.
especially for Cat 6. So, but yeah, pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. I just thought we'd go through, find some eclectic stuff out there to look at today for specials.
Yeah, it's amazing how quick Nick came back to his chair when he heard, look closely at the stripper.
I was already here, you jackass. I was already here. That's a really good deal. That installer kit, that's a good deal. Those tone and trace things are pretty useful. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of in that field right now, but
I have two of them. I have an earlier one and a newer one of the same company. I can't remember which one it is. It's a brand name. And the reason I bought the second one is because I couldn't find my first one. I don't know where it went. And then, of course, after I bought it, I found it.
Now, I know if you're looking for like good quality tone and trace, I know that Fluke is kind of the gold standard.
Yes.
Fluke, they make a lot of nice equipment. But at the end of the day, a tone and trace is literally just noise. I mean, it's not an incredibly complicated system. So that I might buy that kit. That's a handy little. I like it's all in one box. I've got like bag because look, there's a coax stripper in there and some other stuff too.
Yes, the coax stripper is handy.
Yeah, because that's a real stripping coax is a complicated thing to keep your braided shield intact. It's
I have that. I have the same type of tool, and it's great because it automatically does the two different size. It strips down to the bare core and it strips the outer sheath and keeps the braided wire intact.
Yeah.
So this is the IT professional work from home kit, right?
That's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I thought you were showing something.
It's going to be I want to be an IT professional, but I don't want to spend a lot of money.
Well, then you'd be perfect in IT. Yeah. Buy the cheapest shit possible. It doesn't matter if it works or not. Now, Amnon.
Yes.
I know you bought a piece of equipment this past week.
What did I buy?
Something for a vehicle.
Oh, a scan tool?
You mean?
Oh my God! I mean, I just want to say for the record, this is
for the tires.
I come here, I do a setup, I'm ready to go. I've got a setup topic, and Amnon's like Bernie Sanders, has no freaking clue where he is. Has got nothing. No, you bought a jump.
Oh yes. Right? Oh yeah.
Too much weed.
That's right. Yeah.
Too many strippers.
I mean, on the mind. I didn't buy it for me, so I'm thinking, what tool? What? Yeah, so I got. Kathy called me from Whole Foods and said my battery's dead. I said, "What'd you do? Leave the lights on? What'd you do?" Nothing. But I figured that it's because she's not driving much, and she always drives with the lights on. And after a while, the battery is going to say, "Hey, look, you're not feeding me." So I got one of those Li-ion chargers, the little things. It's amazing.
Oh, did you use it?
I did not use it, but it's amazing when you read about it and you see what comes in there. I mean, it's just amazing. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it.
This is the one I got my father. I've got one similar that my grandparents got for me. They're all pretty much the same. Just buy one that's got a lot of reviews on Amazon. This one's
Yep.
$60.
Yeah.
Actually, it looks like there's a coupon on it.
And
If you belong to Costco, they also have very good deals.
Yeah.
I
buy another one of these.
It's still hard for me to understand how a little thing like this can actually turn over. Well, it will not turn over an engine by itself. It will help. Still, it's amazing.
Oh, no, this is on sale now for $49.
Oh, shut up.
18% off
I have
coupon.
one in my car. It's amazing.
18% off. And so I'll post this in the chat. For $50, you'd be a fool not to have this.
Absolutely. This is, and I told her, I said, look, here's what I got you, so you don't have to call me and I don't have to come out and all that. And she looked and she said, wow. Am I going to know how to use it? I said, here.
Yeah. Now I don't know. I assume they're all pretty similar. So the way that it works, I mean, it's pretty simple. You, it's got a little breakout box thing that you, let's see, it looks like
it's a plug. It's not a breakout.
Yeah, it looks like this. So it's a breakout box thing that plugs in.
Yep.
And then it's got your positive and negative terminals. And then you just simply put it on your battery, turn the device itself on. It will, I don't know if this one does. This one doesn't have a screen. Mine's got a screen that says the percentage. It'll say, 95%. And you simply go sit back in your car, turn the key, and unless you've got a shorted battery
or a complete dead battery, they say,
even a complete dead battery, I've had this thing.
But they say to leave it connected for like a minute or so, and then try, which makes sense.
Yeah, that small thing that hooks to it, it'll show red or green right when it's time to.
Yeah,
it's amazing. I agree.
It is very amazing, and honestly, once you get this, you can get rid of your jumper cables. There's no reason to carry them. There really isn't. This thing will, again, you can.
If you don't keep it charged.
Well, if you don't keep it charged, then why buy it? That is the one thing. And I would recommend Amnon for that. Well, you probably already have it, but buy these don't come. At least mine didn't with a wall wart for charging. It came with just a regular cigarette lighter adapter, which is great. But I don't.
This one came with the USB-C to.
Oh, that's to charge a device. I mean, for you to charge it itself.
Well,
it's got
mine's got a micro USB charger port.
Okay, so mine doesn't.
And a micro USB charging port.
Okay,
so it's
This one has a USB-C to charge it. And on the other side, it's USB. So I got one of those bricks and plug it in the wall.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, mine is again, depends on your unit. Mine is just got a regular barrel connector for charging. And it came with a cigarette lighter adapter, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I don't have cigarette lighter adapters in my house.
Right.
And charging it in the car isn't the most convenient thing in the world. So get one of those. But I like this. It's got USB-C to charge. That's perfect. So
it has two USB ports.
Yeah, and a flashlight, which is useless, but it's got it nevertheless. I've got probably 16 flashlights in my car because every stupid piece of automotive equipment I have has got a stupid flashlight on it.
Mine's got a built-in 2-meter ham.
Does it really?
Emergency right now.
I was gonna say, well, I mean, it wouldn't be hard to put a little. I was saying because I'm buying that one if that's the case. That's a cool little
thing.
Huh? Yeah. So this is a great device. It's not, and it's also a huge battery pack. It doesn't have to be just a car jumper.
Right.
If you're camping or something, you can.
Yep.
Shit, I don't know how many times you could charge an iPhone or something on this. You could probably charge a phone 15 times over.
I used it to charge a jumper car, and it used 6% of the battery capacity.
Yeah, that's what mine does. Like I've jumped, like 8-10%. So just keep them charged. But there really is. Once you get this thing and use it a couple times. Which I've used to jump my work car there's no reason to even carry around an old pair of jumper cables. This thing will jump anything. Unless you have a shorted battery, which if you have a shorted battery, you're not going to jump it even with jumper cables.
Will it jump the shark?
Will it jump the shark?
Only Fonzie can do that.
Okay.
I don't know. Okay, that's
you don't know that jump the shark was having gotten to the point where you're no longer relevant. Fonzie on Happy Days. Fonzie, the show kept going on, and it was in its last throes and not doing very well. And as a publicity thing, they had Fonzie supposedly jump over a shark tank on a motorcycle, and that's where the term came from: "Jump the shark."
No, I that was
But
Happy Days a little before my time.
the amazing thing is that, like the Mercedes, the diesel, has a huge battery.
Okay.
It's got almost like a time and a half size of regular battery to turn it. And it says on this one that it will start the diesel engine up to, I can't remember how many liters. And I think, how? I may have a chance to try it because one of them out there, the battery is completely gone. I just want to see what it'll do. I didn't have a chance to try it.
A completely gone diesel battery. That's if it jumps that, then that's impressive.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I want to try.
Yeah, but you'll be surprised. I mean, these things really do work well. The
engineering behind it to take two little batteries, probably it's got in there. I mean,
it's all about the high voltage. It's got nothing to do with the charge. It's just about the high voltage. So yeah,
amazing.
I mean, these are high amperage. Correct. This is a must-have. You should have one of these in every single vehicle.
Yeah,
they're so cheap. There's no reason not to, especially in a snowy climate.
And it's 1,000 amp hour. I mean, they have different ones. They have 800, 600, and they tell you for what size engines and all that. And they go all the way up to 20 amp. I mean, it's
so. I've used mine a couple times, had no problems. I got one from my father for his either birthday or Christmas a couple years ago. I think he's used it a few times to jump a couple cars. I've never heard anybody say, "Oh man, it would have been great if it did this." I've never heard.
Yeah,
that.
You just need to remember to charge it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, again, if you don't charge it, then you're mean, it ain't gonna work.
And it's actually. I actually like the fact that yours has a cigarette lighter because you keep it in the car.
Yeah.
And, if you use it, plug it in, leave it on the floor somewhere, let it charge, and then put it back in the case.
You can do that. I've got an older unit. I've had mine a couple of years. But yeah, these things are great.
Nice.
If you there's nothing there's really nothing else to say. It is a must have. If you have one thing in your car,
you have to have that. Absolutely.
That, yeah. If you could have one.
Unless if you have a husband or a wife that would jump right in their car and come to.
Well, but even with that, and the other thing too, actually, I've done this once. I was in a store parking lot at Walmart or something like that. Some guy goes, "Hey man, my battery's dead. Can you jump me?" And so instead of having to move my car and then, again, you're in a parking lot. So what's the chances that you're going to be able to park right next to the person? You just walk over with this thing, click it on, and they can jump their car. It's so, I mean, it's a whole hell of a lot easier than having to deal with that. So,
all right,
there you
go. A couple of stories here that are interesting. After losing around $4.5 billion over the past 5 years, LG is considering exiting the smartphone market in 2021. That's coming from The Verge. So if you have an LG phone and I love them, but they're not gonna. They decided they're going to stay with their core business and not phones. Because
they're probably going to sell it to somebody and some other brand is going to manufacture.
Sure.
I don't think the design is going away.
And with all this social media stuff, Los Angeles-based social media network MeWe started to be the ad-free future of social networking, is currently the #1 downloaded social app in the Google Play Store and the #3 download app in the App Store, in all App Store. The privacy-first anti-Facebook platform added 2.5 million new members in the last week. But I don't know. It seems like it'll still be hard for them to take Facebook on.
Well, yeah, but again, the MeWe is just another centralized service.
Yeah,
so, it's the same bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely.
it's quite laughable at this point.
And Nick, this is I don't know if I sent it to you that Opera has acquired Yo-Yo Games.
No.
A British
What is
game-
it?
Yo-Yo.
Yo-Yo?
Yo-Yo Games. It's a British game development platform best known for Game Maker Studio 2. And is launching
Okay.
its Opera gaming division. So there's going to be an Opera gaming division.
Man, big chunk of change.
Yep.
10 million buckaroos.
Yep.
Cool.
maybe
I'll have to
you-
do a little research. I did not hear that.
Now, a lot of people use the CentOS.
Oh, to be clear, it's a game engine that they make. That's their Studio 2 is an engine for building video games. So
Yeah, well, they said it platform. They call it. Well, yeah, game development platform. Yeah.
yeah, it's an engine, which is cool. That's big.
CentOS is a Linux distribution.
Red Hat.
Red Hat. They did away with it.
Wait, CentOS is gone?
Red Hat caused a
Oh.
lot of commotion in the Linux world when it announced the discontinuation of CentOS Linux.
Wow.
And ambiguity in Red Hat's posted terms led users to believe that CentOS 8 would be available until 2029, just like the RHEL 8 was based on. Now, Red Hat's early termination of CentOS 8 in 2021 cut 8 of those 10 years away, leaving thousands of users stranded. Well, Red Hat's December announcement of CentOS Stream, which it initially built as a replacement for CentOS Linux, left many users confused about its role in the updated Red Hat ecosystem. As of February 1st,
Interesting.
2021, Red Hat will make RHEL available at no cost for small production workload, with small defined as 16 systems or fewer. So if you have 16 servers, you can use that replacement RHEL for free.
Which is Red Hat.
Red Hat.
The
Enterprise.
REHL is their paid version of Linux,
Yeah.
Red Hat's Linux version. But so wow.
Well, first of all, I can confirm Wikipedia states CentOS was a Linux distribution, so it's dead.
That's great. CentOS
Yeah, I
was
know.
incredibly popular.
Yeah.
I know.
Why is
Yeah.
Red Hat getting rid of it? That's
They-
a terrible
they
idea.
wanna make
Because
money.
it's a bleeding end.
But I mean, come on. I mean, it's not. It's been since it's been out for what 20 years, I would assume, 2000.
Well,
something?
first of all, it's not completely dead. It has evolved into CentOS Stream.
True.
And the difference is a monolithic distribution compared to a rolling release distro. For the developer, it is a lot easier to maintain because you're only focusing on the edge. You're only focusing on the trunk, on what I'm developing now. And testing-wise, providing support is a lot easier. Now, they still provide the same type. I mean, RHEL and CentOS were practically the same, right? With minor differences and mainly licensing differences, not more than that. So choosing to, I can see the business side of the decision. What is surprising is practically a slap in the face to the community, because Red Hat has been, I mean, the reason Red Hat is so successful financially, business-wise, right, compared to other outfits exactly like it, like SUSE, for example, is they had the backing of the community that everybody was, but they have been doing some business decision in the past year that is really, really
Strange.
shifting away from where the mainstream of the community is. So, yeah,
Yep.
interesting.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And Microsoft is joining GM, Honda, and others in a $2 billion investment round in Cruise to help commercialize its self-driving cars. The deal bumps Cruise valuation to $30 billion from $19 billion last year, blah, blah, blah. Microsoft is getting involved in this. And those who buy those self-driving cars are probably going to have to put up with updates and restarts and all kind of things while they're driving. Right?
That's pretty much what happens with Teslas, right? Teslas do get updated
Yeah.
over the air.
Yeah, but Windows is now known for, reboot.
Well, let's be fair.
No, it's a joke.
Yeah, when
we're
you don't
past
when you
those
when
days.
you
I
don't
think
when you don't shut off your computer for 6 months, Amnon,
Yeah.
yes, Windows will
Right.
eventually
Yeah.
just reboot.
True.
For us normal folk,
By the way, I was reading an article about Windows 10. This was in Dave's newsletter. Windows 10, if it encounters a serious error, will just flash a message on the screen and restart. And he said that a lot of people complained about it because there's no way to know what did it. And there is a way to set it up so it will not do it. Say it will freeze there and let you know what happened. He did say
First
that
of all,
there-
you can investigate what did it by looking at the mini dumps.
yeah, but here you
There are
have,
tools to do that.
but
yeah.
you have the notice right there, and so somewhere you go to the advanced setup of the system, and you can check do not start, something like that. Do
Yeah,
not
but you
start a-
see, this is a slap in the face with Microsoft, because Microsoft in the past 40 years, they have perfected the restart technology, right? And not trusting them with the restart, come on.
All right. We all heard about Spotify doing all kind of things with podcasts, right? What was his name? Joe Rogan?
Yep.
Millions, whatever. Oh, so here's an article that says that Spotify multi-million-dollar bet on podcasting may not be working out.
Yep.
That's coming from Citi analyst, Citi, the credit, I guess, in a note to clients Friday. The cadence of premium gross additions and downloaded data through the fourth quarter of 20 do not show any material benefit from recent podcasting. So it's not going their way. The only reason I mention it is if you are thinking about investing.
well, let's
You were
talk
gonna
about
say?
it. Well, let's talk about it. So they decided to they thought, and wrongfully so, that they could. So
Manipulate.
podcasting works in two different ways. You have your catcher with the app that you use to listen, and then you have the protocol RSS, really simple syndication, I believe is what it stands for. It's a RSS is a known protocol.
Mhm.
It's the same. Every podcast, for the most part, is coded the same way with inside of RSS.
Right.
So it's totally open. It's totally, everybody knows. When I say everybody, I mean all the apps. Everybody knows how to get all of the content. There's no ambiguity. No, I can't pronounce the word.
Ambiguity.
Ambiguity. Yes, there you go. There's no question what to do with an RSS feed. Spotify thought that they could buy podcasting, and it has turned out to, in my opinion, be a total disaster. They have what made RSS really great was the openness of it, and they have decided to close it. You can only use their app to listen to their shows. I have not watched Joe Rogan or listened to Joe Rogan since he's been on Spotify. I actually haven't. I found an RSS feed that rips his show off Spotify every single day and puts it back on RSS so I can listen to it on my podcast.
Yeah, I
app.
remember
So
you talking about this.
when
There
I
was
listen
no
to
way.
Joe Rogan, which is definitely against Spotify's terms of service, when I listen to Joe Rogan now, I'm listening to a third-party rip of his app of his show because I want to watch it in my own. I want to listen to it in my own app that I already use. Not that I don't use Spotify, because I do. I pay for it. So they decided that they wanted to buy podcasting, or at least attempt to buy podcasting, and it's turned out just to be a freaking disaster. They're going to lose their ass on this. Joe Rogan will be back on RSS within the next couple of years. There's no question about it. This is going to be a total fail from Spotify.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's a move that I've never truly understood. I understood they wanting to invest and thinking that they can introduce quality into podcasting. And I think they put money there and they produced some good content. But the moment they thought of creating this premium garden for podcasting, yeah, I don't think anybody's going to Spotify to listen to podcast. And not only that, the other mistake I think they did is I am a Spotify premium subscriber right now, and I can tell you that I've been looking at YouTube Premium right now, right? Because one thing I hate about Spotify is how it pushes podcasts on me. I want my Spotify to be a music service, right? And I cannot. I'm paying for the service, and every single frame I get some podcasts in it, and I never chose Spotify to listen to podcasts, right? So I think they pissed off their user base instead of reinforcing it, right? So
What they could have
definitely
done,
annoying.
what they should have done was made Spotify a podcast app. Spotify does not use RSS. It does use RSS, but it is not a traditional podcatcher. So it's
Right,
like an
it needs to be in their catalog first or something. Yeah.
exactly, which is fine. I'm in their catalog. Infection Podcast is on Spotify, but it has to be approved and accepted by Spotify. So they're creating an ad hoc. They're creating yet another podcasting directory, which which defeats the entire purpose of podcasting. It
Well,
really
there's
does.
a lot of they thought, right, and wrongfully, they thought that they can create this walled garden and people would appreciate their work and would choose that. But I agree, the
And-
whole
and
culture around podcasting is openness and free, right? I mean, it is ad driven and all of that by content within the podcast and stuff like that. But they thought they can come up with this new, actually old paradigm, right? And try to force it on this new paradigm, and they failed. I would agree. Yeah. And the saddest thing for me, they purchased a podcasting production company called Gimlet a while back, which I think they're doing stellar work. But if Spotify failing on their bet on podcasting, right? The future of a company like Gimlet is at stake here, and I really hope that at least the content won't be hurt in the long run. But let's see.
All right, another thing, privacy focused. Sorry, privacy focused search engine DuckDuckGo reached a major milestone in its 12-year-old history when it recorded on Monday its first ever day with more than 100 million searches. I tried to add it to Firefox, Senor Gal, and I couldn't find an easy way. I don't want to add another bar.
It's there by default. What are
No,
you
it's
talking
not.
about?
When I clicked on search, all it had was Google, and
It's there by default. It's my default one on Firefox. I didn't need to do anything special.
all right, so
Just
I don't know.
choose it as the default.
I think that's what I was trying to do. That's all right. I'll look at it again. I know Hungary is not, for people here in the States, doesn't mean much. Hungarian Justice Minister Judith Varga on Monday raised the prospect of sanctioning social media firms over what she calls systematic abuses of free speech. It's interesting that more countries around in Europe, especially, are considering this. And Google released Chrome 88. Besides improving its dark mode support, big deal, they removed support for both Adobe Flash and FTP. So if you were doing any kind of FTP through Chrome, to the address bar, you cannot do that anymore, apparently.
Sounds like they did us a favor. Come on.
Well, but a lot of people do it occasionally. That would be nice. They know what to type, FTP : / whatever.
Yeah,
Do that.
but it's not so.
So
You will just get prompted. Can I open your FTP software? And
Maybe.
you just need to have FileZilla.
I don't know.
Yeah, because it's a protocol scheme. It just won't be handled within the browser. So that's why I'm saying they did you a favor. It's not that you're losing access to FTP. It's just you need a dedicated software that does it a lot better. That's all.
I'll leave the rest of the stories for next week. 'Cause it's time. All right. Anyway, anything else anybody wants to mention? Nothing? All right. Well, thanks, Gal. Thanks, Spence. Thanks, Nick. And good morning to Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Dina, Arlet, and Michael, Eleanor. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Tonight at 7, Nick is doing his Against the Norm. Correct, Nick?
Yes, sir.
Yes. 7 o'clock at atnshow.com. Or if you're in Wilmington, North Carolina, 106.7 Big Talker FM. Listen there too. And Tuesday, Nick does Infection Podcast for gamers. This is about survival games. 7 o'clock at Twitch. See you next week, everybody.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.